So we have reached the final 7 weeks of the season. Each team will face off against each other for the last time as we get closer to the end. Welcome to Game Week 32. Facing off against the informed side of Tomas as he looks to secure 3rd place from the rest of the pack. This was going to be a high scoring week as most of the players were in form. And in what was a back and forth week, it was up to Leicester and West Brom to score more than 20 points in their final 90 minutes, and thankfully they scored a total of 24. Vardy and Iheanacho once again sharing the goals and assists while Fofana kept a clean sheet. John Stones had a sending off in the Man City game, and the remaining 5 other players also had a quiet one. Wolves' defence was intact as we started the new keeper Patricio, and Rudiger and Rodriguez were also on the board for a pretty good week. Tomas did still put up a fight as he had 20-point lead before the Leicester game. In some cases that would have been enough. Trent and Mane linking up for Liverpool, Rashford, Ings and Cody were also on the board. A great matchup between the two sides, 3-2 to myself in the head-to-head, but the final score this week, Andy 51, Tomas 47. Moving on to Alex versus Niall to see which of the losing streaks would come to an end. Alex and his 10-game losing streak finally comes to an end after 20 points from James, Alonso and McGinn all coming off the bench to put the tie to rest. A perfect defensive line with Tarkowski, Dunk and Lurie all adding to his tally. But unfortunately one of them had to lose, and that makes Niall the 3rd person to get a 7th straight defeat in a row. Bernardo Silva had a great game with 2 assists, but there was just too many players missing to make any competition. Is this Alex's final attempt to charge for 3rd spot? Final score, Alex 47, Niall 25. From one end of the table to the other, Tomas was beaten, which gave Nicholas a chance to make some ground. Unfortunately, he was up against Fuelan, who can't afford any slip-ups. Fuelan secured a win in what was another tight affair. Pogba and Cavani link up along with the informed Lingard, once again looking like the best signing of the season. Another great signing as Roman Saiz comes into his defensive line and gets him a clean sheet along with some bonus points. Nicholas had gone all in on Spurs with their double game week, a tactic I admire, but unfortunately it did not pay off too much because hey, it's still Spurs. Son secured 12 points and Foden and Ndombele were also on the board. Nicholas lost by just 4 points, and I wonder if one of his keepers had have played, would that have made any difference? Final score, Fuelan 42, Nicholas 38. Fuelan continues the pressure on Ahmed and it finally paid off. Ross in a dominating performance scored a 61-point score to rattle the league leader. Ahmed's star players were all absent as it was just Traore and Lucas Moura putting any points on the board. Ross on the other hand only needed 2 players to beat Ahmed this week, Greenwood as his form continues, and of course none other than the first pick himself. That's gotta be Kane! Ross will gain some ground on Tomas for 3rd, while Fuelan will now be tied for points with Ahmed. Final score, Ross 61, Ahmed 25. So it's week 33 in what could be the most important week for every club. First up, and more importantly, we have Ahmed versus Fuelan facing off for the final time at the top of the table. Ahmed may have won their head-to-head already, but they are currently level on points. However, looking at their score, there is a 53-point difference which Fuelan won't have to worry about too much if he can secure a win this weekend. Tomas versus Ross is up next. Both won loss from their previous 5 matches, and after their previous result, Ross can now overlap Tomas and lead the charge for 3rd. Nicholas versus Alex is an interesting one because if Alex can win, it'll drop Nicholas back to 6th, while Nicholas needs to keep up the pace with Tomas and Ross, which can only leave us with Niall versus myself. No double game weeks this time round, however Manchester City are absent with their cup final, which really sabotages Niall's squad. So I'm fielding out a full starting 11 as I just want to make sure I can secure this win. After 32 weeks, it's about time I sold Aguero. Injuries, fixtures and rotation, I'm sure he will make one more showing this season, but it's time to move on. The Wolves striker Willian Jose comes in for Aguero and Kabak replaces Chambers. Chelsea facing West Ham will be the one to watch, but a United clean sheet is still possible, and Maddison has been far too quiet these past few weeks. So there we have it, another exciting week has just passed us and we go straight into another with some massive games coming up. We could see up to 3 changes in the table after all this. Best of luck with your teams, stay safe and I'll catch you next week. See you later.